Welcome to Unfiltered with Love, honest conversations about love, healing, spirituality, and truth. I'm your host, Kerry Love. This podcast is a space for real conversations about growth, faith, relationships, boundaries, and the journey of becoming who we were always meant to be. If you're someone who's been healing, questioning, growing, or rediscovering yourself, you're in the right place. This is the day I stopped waiting and started speaking. I've thought about starting this podcast for a long time. I had notes in my phone, half written ideas, and moments where I thought maybe I should just do it. But like so many things in life, I kept waiting for the right moment. And then something about this morning just felt different. I woke up to the most beautiful sunrise. It was one of those quiet moments that makes you stop for a second and just breathe. Then I got to work and I noticed something unusual. There were dozens of crows gathered around my office. They were perched everywhere on the trees, the buildings, just watching. And it was one of those moments where you feel like the world is nudging you a little bit. And I thought, maybe today is the day. And so here we are. I created Unfiltered with Love because I believe so many of us are walking around carrying stories that we haven't spoken out loud yet. Stories about love, stories about healing, stories about losing ourselves and slowly finding our way back. And the most honest we can be about those journeys, the more freedom we give ourselves and each other. This space is meant to be real, not polished, not perfect, just honest. One of the things that's been on my heart a lot lately is the idea of identity, who we think we are, who we were told we should be, and who we actually become when life reshapes us. Several years ago, after my divorce, after 23 years of marriage, I found myself asking a question I had never really asked before. Who am I now? Not as someone's wife, not as the version of myself that lived inside the life I had built for so long, just me. And what I discovered during that time is that divorce carries a kind of grief people don't talk about very often. Of course, there's a grief for the relationship, but there's also grief for the identity you thought you'd have forever. I had to grieve the version of myself that lived inside that life, the woman who had everything together, the future I thought was promised. And that was harder than I expected. But over time, something important started to become clear. I didn't lose myself. I didn't disappear. I evolved. I'm still her, but I'm bigger now, stronger, more honest about who I am and what I want my life to look like. And that journey of evolving, of rediscovering who you are, is something I think so many of us go through at different points in our lives. For me, faith has played a big role in that process, learning to slow down, learning to pray about things, having a relationship with God, learning to listen for guidance instead of forcing answers. Sometimes the moments that feel like endings are actually invitations to become something new. And while those seasons can be painful, they can also be deeply transformative. This podcast is really about those moments of transformation, the moments where we stop pretending everything is fine, the moments where we ask deeper questions, the moments where we decide to step into our truth instead of staying small. We'll talk about love, healing, faith, boundaries, identity, relationships, and the courage it takes to keep becoming who you're meant to be. If you're listening to this and you feel like you're in a season of rediscovering yourself, or letting go of an old identity, or learning to trust your voice again, I hope this podcast feels like a safe place for that journey. You're not alone in it, not even close. This is Unfiltered with Love. I'm Kerry Love, and this is just the beginning. Thank you for being here.